Okay, this is episode 3 of the Misanthropy Podcast. I'm talking to Nina Hudson.
Hey.
Nina, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Nina. I usually go by Find You Some Love. I am a model. I'm a lingerie model and a nude model. I am a female sexuality activist, and I am an exotic dancer in Chicago.
All right, well, the first question I had is how did you start off with your exotic dancing? How did you get there?
Okay. When I was younger, almost 4 years ago, I was kind of struggling with insecurities and just kind of trying to figure out what it is about myself that makes me so special. I've been dancing for a long time, so I was trying to figure out another dance outlet. I found a pole dancing Groupon, and I went with it. My first class like really showed me how I felt about myself, and so I continued to go until I had a different view when I looked in the mirror. And honestly, pole dancing really changed my life at that time.
Hmm, that's amazing that an art form can do that for someone.
Yeah, I was just saying to somebody that one of my students, I'm like, my classes are about you finding your own voice. Like that's what dancing did for me. So regardless of what art form you choose, I think it should always help you find yourself and find a voice for you.
So, can you just go into a little bit into uh, what the hardships are with your career choice? Like, what are some of the struggles that you've been running into since you started doing this?
Definitely. So I've only been dancing for about a month and a half now. It's not what people think, and that's why I'm happy to talk to you about this today because a lot of people think like, okay, I'm just gonna drop out of school and be a stripper, or a lot of people have that mindset, and think of it that way. But honestly, it's not that easy, especially when you're in a city where the club scene isn't too big, and so it's a lot of selling. It's a lot of rejection. I mean, like when you become a dancer, you obviously believe that you're a very beautiful woman, but when you're in the club, there's a lot of people who are going to tell you that you're not. And you have to go back home and regroup and refocus yourself and get that mojo back up. It's very stressful. It's very straining on your body. You're walking around in like super high heels. You're trying to talk to people all day long. And it's not like I'm trying to sell you a house. So at the end of the day, you know that the only reason I'm talking to you is to get a house, or like a car. At a strip club, it's different. A lot of people come in there just to talk, but I'm here on the hour. So you came in here just to talk and you can drink and have a good time, but I'm not necessarily having a good time because you're not paying me. And so it's hard to kind of convey that message that you need to pay me for my time.
It's a lot to juggle at the same time.
It's a lot. It's really a lot. And I found myself really tired some nights where I'll just allow myself to sit down and talk to somebody for an hour because let's say like for the last 2 or 3 hours I've been rejected and I'm tired of feeling that way. So then I might settle for a conversation with somebody for free because of how hard that job is. It's like it'll be one thing if there's like an hourly wage and then you got tips on top like being a server or a bartender, but there is no hourly wage and you pay to work. So like I said, it is a lot to juggle. It's a really hard job, but at the same time it's very rewarding. So I'm grateful for it. I'm still pushing. I'm still wanting to do better.
Speak about the rewarding parts for a little bit.
Yeah. One thing I feel totally more confident within myself outside the club. So I still struggle with confidence inside the club. I'm not gonna lie, but when I'm not at the club, I feel resilient. I feel strong. I feel like I don't care if you do tell me no because I get told a million times at the club, and it makes me go harder for everything else. I feel like I feel like I have more control of my life and who I am because of being in the club. And it does make me a better salesperson as well. That's really what being a stripper is. You're trying to sell somebody. So if I'm dancing on stage, I'm selling you this idea that, I be dancing for you. If we're going to VIP, I'm selling you this idea that you have a lot of time to be with me and get to know me. But when I get older, I'm trying to sell a lot of things. I want to own a dispensary. I want to own a restaurant. So I'm always going to be trying to sell something. And this place really makes me hustle my butt off. And so that's literally like the biggest reward, that I know I'm learning something new every day.
I was thinking a little while ago that it must take a really interesting and specific like mentality to be a dancer. What you do you have another name for yourself when you dance?
Yeah, my dancer name is Galaxy.
So is it like you have to get into that role and like change the way you're thinking about yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Talk
do.
about
And
that a little bit.
it's very unusual because I'm a person that's truly myself within and out. I'm very honest, I'm very blatant. And to be in a place where I can't be Nina is very hard. And I'm still trying to learn how to become Galaxy. I'm learning who Galaxy is because everybody has a different way of selling. So yeah, that part is really hard. Like transforming into somebody who I've never met and never been, um, to make it work for this job. It's not a full transformation because like I am a dancer and I am a nudist, and I do love the idea of sex. So those things is like I'm not changing. But as far as throwing myself at somebody, that's not me. I don't know. It's like, or like just having random, or making myself have conversations with people in hopes of like selling them a dream that's kind of false, because let's be real, there's nothing really happening in VIP once I get you there. So yeah, like kind of like lying to somebody about what they're about to invest in is
But
very.
it's like it's a collaborative lie. It's like they're supposed to know that.
They are supposed to know that, but at the same time, it's like there's been plenty of times where I've been in VIP and guys would be like, "Well, this is it," and I personally feel bad. Like to be in VIP for 1 hour in Chicago is $700. Yeah, and so it's like for you to like be sitting down on the floor, and I'm like, "Let's go to VIP," and they're like, "Oh, okay," and then we get there, and you're like, "Well, this is kind of like what we were doing on the floor." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." I don't necessarily like that idea. If it was my world, if it was my way, I would just go up there, kill the pole, make my money there, and then like go home. I don't really like that part of the job. But it comes with the territory, and like I said, it does help with sales. Because I feel like even when you are trying to sell a house or you are trying to sell a car, there's still like a little bit of lying going on. You're still like overdoing whatever it is you're selling. You know.
That's definitely right.
Yeah.
What have you faced any like stigma from like anybody you know or don't know, or do you just feel it internally, or is like anybody in your family? If you want to talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So the older generation of my family don't know. I kind of don't ever. It's not that I'm scared of them to know. It's that I do try to avoid the stigma. I have been dancing on a pole without the club for 3 years, and that has always been a problem for my family. Even though I've never like, what I'm saying? Like, even though I've never done it for money until this point. So I know the idea that would come with them knowing that I'm actually a dancer, and I don't think that they would actually understand. I don't think that anybody really understands unless you know who I am. To say, well, Nina can do that. She's strong enough to do it. Look at her. She's happy with herself. She's confident in herself. She loves herself. This is definitely the job for her. People in this generation, I can see them feeling that way more, and then older generations could have more of a negative aspect on it. And then you have to deal with the stigma and the idea of a stripper within myself because there's strippers in there who do way more than what comes under the stripper qualifications or whatever. And you have to compete with that. And I have to hear stories from other guys about what this stripper did and what this stripper did. And so, it does come with a lot of stigma. And I try to compare it to anything else. It's like when you really want something, you go through whatever you have to go through to get it. Everybody makes a sacrifice to get the things that they want to get. This job is a sacrifice, and I'm not sacrificing my soul or like, what I'm saying? I'm not sacrificing anything I'm uncomfortable sacrificing. I'm happy, I'm resilient, and like I'm working. I know what I'm working towards. So I have to like really balance the way how I really feel about myself with everything else that's going on in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy how you find out what people are really thinking when you try to live truthfully to yourself.
Yeah.
And it just reveals how people like really want to put you in a box.
Yeah.
And they don't want to let you do what you want to do. And
yeah.
That could be really frustrating.
Yeah.
I've encountered that very
Yeah.
very recently.
If they put you in a box automatically. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you work where? Oh, that's in their mind is like, oh, that's not good enough. That's not up to my standard
Yeah.
of who you are, you know, and it's automatically, yeah, that box.
Yeah.
As soon as you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, what would you say the biggest lessons that you're starting to take away? I know you like are just now starting.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things that you're finding yourself starting to learn?
I'm definitely learning that self care is so critical. Um, when we are chasing something and we're working so hard, we kind of forget what it is to take care of ourselves. And I feel like that was my biggest L last week. I've been working about like 11 hours a day, about like 3 to 4 days a week. And my body hated me last week. I couldn't even like get on stage because I was in so much pain. I was drained emotionally. I didn't realize that spiritually I was drained. And so, yeah, it's like you don't really think about that. You hear all these people like, oh, I don't take no nights off. And the person that's younger that hasn't like reached their success yet, you think like, okay, I don't need to sleep. I do just need to keep working and keep harder because I can sleep later. And it's like, no, that's not the truth. The truth is, you have to balance everything out. You have to make sure you're eating right, make sure you're resting, and make sure you're taking days off to focus on yourself, and then get back to whatever your dreams and aspirations are, so that you don't end up in some freaking crazy house.
Yeah, yeah, that's a real thing, being burnt out, and just like there's no point in like destroying yourself if you're pursuing something because you're not gonna be able to enjoy the
Yeah.
after the 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 fruition of your goals.
Exactly.
If you are destroying yourself, but what do you have any advice to anyone who's
Who wants to
thinking?
be a dancer?
Yeah.
You know, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into until you get there. When I went to my instructor, she works at the club I work at, and when I was telling her that I wanted to dance, her facial reaction was just so strange to me. It wasn't like I want you to do it, but it wasn't like I don't want you to do it, you know? And then I got hired and I was working for a few weeks, and I had a friend who wanted to be a dancer, and I became my instructor. I was like, look, you can do it, but you don't know what you're getting yourself into when you're there. So yeah, my advice is just if you feel like you can do it, if you feel like that's the place for you, don't just do it for the money. Have another motive, and try. It's not for everybody. It's definitely not.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
What? Okay. A few weeks ago,
Mhm.
or however long it was, I saw you on Instagram talking about love, and it really made me want to interview you because I really want to get a woman's perspective on what it's like being a woman today, and dating and being on a journey. So just dive into that a little bit. What is it like for you?
I feel like regardless, we're all struggling to figure out what it is we want. Even when people say they know what they want, they don't. For example, a lot of people say they want friends with benefits. You know, they want somebody to just have sex with, and we're just friends, and then yeah, it's perfect. But friends with benefits is such a stupid thing. You're dating, and you're just too scared or you're too shallow to actually be committed to one person. And like nobody wants to admit to that. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, well, we're young. We should be like that." And it's like I don't think so because those relationships have never worked out in my favor. I don't know anybody that's had a friends with benefits relationship. I'm not gonna say ever. It happens every now and then, but they're not long-term relationships. You're not sleeping with somebody for 3 years and you guys have always just been friends, and then somebody gets married and you're like, oh yeah, we just used to have sex for forever, but I'm so happy that she's getting married. No. You fall in love with that person. You always catch feelings. So yeah, I feel like it is really hard. For me, I have been avoiding relationships, but I see how it's kind of like damaged relationships that I've had at the same time.
You can't get past a certain level in love, to me, if you don't try to stick it out with someone, because I mean that's the full experience.
It is.
You have to go years and years to like really know someone and really like have a relationship.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Yes, but I also feel like that part is inevitable. You know, sometimes it is meant for us to be involved with somebody for a certain amount of time. And then when we leave, when they leave, you're like, oh my God, they left me. It's awful. It's the worst thing that could happen to me. But maybe like 2 or 3 months later, you sit down and you look back and you're like, dude, that person is still the same person and I've changed. Or, you know, that person was hurting me and I didn't realize how much they were hurting me until we actually had enough space apart. I've actually been involved with somebody for about like 3, 4 years now. We're almost going on 4 years, and we've had fights. I hate you. I don't want to talk to you no more. But there's only one thing that brings us back together, and it's literally the universe or whatever somebody wants to call it, God, the universe, the heavens.
And that's definitely like, part of it, like
yeah.
the I hate you and the
yeah,
distance.
Yeah, you don't really love somebody unless you hate them. I was just telling my friend that you are not in love with nobody. You do not truly, truly, truly love somebody unless you got to a point like I hate this person. Because they reflect you, you know, they reflect you and all your mistakes and everything you hate about yourself. And they're so close to you, you can only really see that, how much you feel that with that person.
What do you think that men don't understand about women that you would want men to understand about women?
That we're never gonna speak the same language. We're never, ever, ever gonna speak the same language. What doesn't make sense to you is gonna make 100% sense to me, and it's never. You have to have communication, you know, and the communication takes days, it takes weeks, it takes years, it takes a long, long, long time for people to see eye to eye and learn how to find that common ground of communication. It's like trying to speak. It's like trying to speak like Japanese and trying to translate it to English all the time. It doesn't always come together. So you have to take time to figure out how to form that sentence to have both people understand what's going on.
I agree with that. What do you think about how love is represented in media or like in social media? Just anything that's really popular. Do you think that it's helping or hurting?
I can't stand it. To me, I can't stand it because it's so fake, and you know it's fake because you see people on social media and they're like, "Oh, we're relationship goals and we're bagels," and then 2 years later, you're like, "Wait, I haven't seen them post a picture together in like three months. What happened?" And you go through their pictures and you don't see no couple pictures or that's bae or anything, and that's because it's so fake, and that's why like. Especially on my Instagram, I try to be very transparent.
I love your Instagram.
Thank you. I try to be very transparent, so when I am going through a bad time, because I'm truly a happy person, but like last week was really hard on me, and I was cool with being open and saying this week is hard on me. I'm having a hard time. I'm not open for communication, and then when I am in a good mood, I'm like, let's go, let's work, let's try, let's go make that money, because that is how life goes. I am not happy all the time. I'm not going to pretend I'm happy all the time. Even when I'm in a relationship, I don't feel like it's great to be like, oh, my significant other is so perfect and blah, 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 because he's not. And because I'm not. And we should be able to express that so that people who are going through their own relationship problems don't have to feel like they're doing so bad. No, this is life. Everything sucks 75% of the time.
Yeah.
It's inevitable, you know.
Are children in your mind? Are you thinking about it? Are you avoiding it?
I'm definitely excited for kids. I used to work at a daycare, but even before that, I love kids, and I just feel like if me and the person I'm involved with have kids, or we don't have kids, regardless of who I end up with, they're gonna be the most dopest people in the world. And I feel like I don't think everybody should have kids or anything like that. I just think that my kids are. Yeah, not everybody should have kids. No. But I'm super excited about it to have like that kind of motherhood, you know, lifestyle.
Yeah. Like very recently, they passed that horrible bill.
Yeah.
And the argument on abortion is the two sides, they're not talking about the same thing.
Not at all.
So they're not gonna come to any type of agreement.
Exactly.
One side is talking about choosing, and the other side is talking about
murder.
Yeah. Like, to be real, it's not like you're not ending the life, but at the same time, what does that have to do with anyone except for the person who's choosing to?
Yeah.
It's extremely complicated, but like, do you have any thoughts on
it? It is complicated, and I deal with this a lot. Like, my mom has told me before, she's like, Nina, if you're pregnant, don't get an abortion. Give me the baby. And I was like, are you crazy? You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving you my baby. That's insane to me. I'd rather have my baby. I have a cousin like last week, and she sent everybody who's close to her a message, and it's like, I'm pregnant. Can you take me to the clinic tomorrow? And everybody who responded to her was like, I'm not taking you to a clinic. You could just have the baby. I'll help you take care of it. And I couldn't believe she got so many responses like that, because why don't you guys support her in whatever it is she wants to do? If she's not ready for this baby, she doesn't feel like she can support this baby, why are all you guys trying to force her to keep this baby? I couldn't believe it. If I was to get pregnant right now, I'm not going to lie to you, I would have an abortion. I am 23 years old, and I am not in a place to be a mother at all. And that's just 100% honest. And I'm grateful that I'm not pregnant and that I don't have to go through that process, but I would, and I feel like any woman should be able to. You never know what could happen, especially if a woman has been raped, or you made a mistake with the wrong person that you know is not going to support your child. If you're in a financial situation that you know you can't support a child, I would hate for anybody to be forced to go through that situation and bring a child up in harsh conditions because of a mistake they made. Within an hour, most likely.
Yeah,
you know?
I just really don't understand why it's so heavily legislated. Like, I just hope that as the country matures and different people are elected, that it can be less of an issue, because it shouldn't be. An issue like that is only going to divide us more.
Yeah.
Because you can't come to a consensus.
Yeah, you can't. But we're not, I don't feel like we're always meant to understand each other. I feel like it would be great if we could all like communicate, like how I was saying earlier, and have somebody translate and be like, well, Kendall, Nina means this. And you say, wow, can you explain to Nina that I mean this? And they look at me and say, Nina, Kendall means this. And then no, there's nobody there to translate how we need to communicate. So we're never gonna fully understand each other. There's always gonna be this side and this side. Right now, that looks pretty black and white. We feel like we live on different sides of the universe, and so that's why we have to always come to situations like this, because we're not meant to agree.
I think that's a good place to dive into the question I ask everyone that I interviewed. What do you think is keeping us as a species from coming together?
Love and understanding.
The lack of it?
Yeah, lack of love and understanding. Like, for example, if, let's say I broke your Xbox or something, you know, and it was an accident, but you're pissed and you're screaming and you're like, Nina, I can't believe you did this, and blah, 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 blah. This could go either one way. I could sit there and be like, I understand why he's upset. I know it was an accident. I know I didn't want to hurt him or upset him, but he's reacting to how he feels. Let me give him love, and accept that, and let me understand him and his anger. Or I could react and be like, well, F you, and blah, blah, blah. Or you could look at me and be like, she made a mistake. She did it, but she didn't mean to hurt me, you know, and I'm okay with that. That's love and understanding. And if we were in a relationship, we'd be able to progress a lot easier because we both took out the time to say, look, I love and understand this person. But it's a lot of times where people don't want to take that step. They want to take that personal. You would take me breaking your Xbox personal. I would take you cursing me out personal. Well, you're never home anyways. You're always out, so I don't care that I broke it. You know, like that. Those things where you take out the love and understanding, that argument could just turn into something that's so unnecessary. And then again, that messes up communication as well.
Yeah, people just need to take a moment and pause and think about how they're reacting.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely.
There's not a lot of that going on.
No, and it's honestly it's hard to like. It's really just hard to talk to people. I do what I do on Instagram. You know, I say what I say, but it is, and I don't think, or I don't expect it to truly change somebody unless they want to change. You know what I mean? Like, there's a girl who wants to get her boobs done at the club, and I'm like, girl, you're a dancer. Like, you don't need a boob job. You got the job. You know, and she's, no, I'm not pretty enough, and blah 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 blah. And it's like there's no at that point after talking to her for like 5 minutes, I realized nothing I say will get you to love yourself better. Nothing I say will get you to understand that it's about how you feel about yourself that will make you the money and not how you look. So I have to give up. I have to walk away. We have to accept ourselves. Like I said, just love and accept ourselves, and we be moving a lot easier. It could be. It's not meant to be, but it could be beautiful.
Man, well, I really appreciate you taking time out to talk about all this. I know it probably wasn't easy.
I'm an open book.
Okay.
You can ask me about anything. I'm like, la, la, la. But I appreciate you too. It's been a great time.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.